Fallout New California is a mod for Fallout New Vegas that adds a whole new campaign. A new world, new story, lots of new characters, new voice dialogue, and just a whole new gaming experience. But the big question is it any good? Spoiler alert, yes it is.
And they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? Jingle jangle.
Fallout New California bills itself as a sort of unofficial prequel to New Vegas. You are going to have to start a new character. You can't take your existing New Vegas character over to New California. You can, however, once you finish New California, take that character into New Vegas if you wish. This new campaign will probably take you anywhere from say 20 to 40 hours to complete. It's going to depend on whether or not you fast travel, how much you engage with the dialogue, whether you read all of the terminals, because there are rather a lot of terminals with lots of little pieces of information, and you can spend quite a lot of time picking up lots of lore, lots of little stories that just add flavour to the world. And of course the dialogue is, well, I would say it's very old school. There are a lot of points in this campaign where the dialogue is quite extensive, especially at the start. There is a lot of dialogue. Old school RPG fans will really feel at home with this, although to be honest with you, if you're a New Vegas fan, this mod, this new campaign is going to feel very familiar. It's a new story, there are the odd little twist here and there, but you're going to feel very comfortable. If you enjoy New Vegas, you will feel very comfortable playing Fallout New California. But whilst you probably can get through this mod in say 20 hours, if you want to experience everything it has to offer, you probably have to play for far more and do multiple playthroughs, because this mod seems to have a lot of branching paths. Even at the start you have to make a choice. Are you going to go the path of the warrior or the path of science? And then there were various points along the way where I felt like what I was doing was going to change the path I was taking. Maybe it was the answer to a question, or maybe it was just a direction I picked. I can't be sure because I've only done one playthrough, but I got the feeling there were lots of little crossroads where I could have changed what was going to happen. And to really experience this mod, I probably want to go back and actually take a different turning. I also feel, or at least I've heard, there are some other points where the story can branch in a different direction depending on what happens to you, not necessarily what you choose. So if you perhaps lose a fight, at least this is what I was told, if you lose a fight something else will happen than if you win it, and it can radically change the direction the story takes. This of course means this mod has a lot of replay potential, which is brilliant. I don't want to talk too much about the story and what happens because I don't want to spoil it for you, so I want to talk about sort of very general things regarding the mod. For example, it doesn't feel like a mod at various points. It feels like some sort of official campaign, an official game. Straight away the cutscene is so well done, it's so professional, you just feel like this was perhaps an officially released DLC. And there are a few other cutscenes in throughout the campaign that are so well done, especially the end cutscene. It's a very typical Fallout end scene where you find out what has happened, what decisions you made and how they affected people in New California. It really feels very professional. The main story is well written. The little side stories, the lore you pick up is really well done. If you enjoy going through terminals to find out what has been happening, or just talking to absolutely everybody to pick up every piece of information that you can, this mod is great. There's tons of it. It feels really well done. The voice acting itself is pretty good. It's mixed, but overall it's very good. And even the dialogue is for the most part well written. I say for the most part, there are some moments that are a little shaky. I'll cover that a little later on. There are quite a lot of skill checks or stat checks during the dialogue, which I always love, and I especially enjoyed the way you got perks by completing a lot of quests, and these perks had an effect on the character you were building. It's a mod that seems to be balanced for a fairly standard New Vegas build process, and by that I mean one perk every 2 levels. So if you're using a mod that gives you one perk every level, you may end up feeling a little powerful because you do get a lot of extra perks given to you through quests, especially at the start. It probably wouldn't actually break the game if you did one perk per level, and it would give you slightly more options to play around with your character, but just be aware, the mod itself gives you a lot of extra little perks as boosts. The world space is good. I'd say good overall. The starting area is really interesting, really well done. I would like to have seen it expanded a bit, just, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen some more, I don't know, things to do. This is not really a spoiler, but you start off in a vault. I actually think I would like to have done a few more side quests in the vault. It was actually a very interesting place, and there were a lot of other characters, and you know, I think I wanted to spend more time there. The outside world is reasonably solid. It's a fairly standard New Vegas type world space. You know, New Vegas world space never really impressed me that much. It was kind of a lot of sand, desolation. It was a sort of, I always cracked the joke that Fallout New Vegas was an almost literal sandbox. I did prefer the Fallout 3 world space. Fallout New California feels very similar to Fallout New Vegas. There were moments where I spotted the odd gap in the meshes in the landscape, but that's true of the base game of Fallout New Vegas anyway, so that wasn't too big of a surprise. But the world it's big and it's interesting enough to explore. It did on occasion feel a little empty. I could definitely see more things being added and certain places getting a little fleshed out. I mean, my particular playthrough, I spent a lot of time in Union City. There was tons to discover. I got the feeling there were some other places where, had I made some other choices, I would have had a lot more interactions with different NPCs and perhaps had different quests. But there were some places where I would discover almost like a little settlement where there'd be a few characters there. I'd have a conversation with one of them, but no one else really wanted to have much of a conversation. There were no traders, and I was looking around thinking, this would be a brilliant place to have 3 or 4 minor quest givers, a couple of traders, and, you know, a place where I could actually sort of spend a little time, sort of little mini towns. So overall, the world space is really good. Now, bear in mind, this mod is in beta phase and they are adding to it all the time. The world space has the potential to have more added to it. There's loads of places where they could just keep adding new quest givers, new content, and it not feel crowded. So I'm hoping they just keep adding stuff to it. I will warn you that the main quest does involve quite a few epic battles, and they may put a bit of a strain on your system. I did have the occasional moment of instability, nothing major and nothing too out of character for New Vegas, but my system is seriously strong, and you know, this particular mod puts a lot of pressure on the performance because it throws quite a lot of things at you. It's very cool, just be aware it can tax your system. In general, this campaign from beginning to end was a ton of fun. It felt really, really well done. But there are occasional signs of it requiring a little more polish. I mentioned the dialogue. There were some moments where I think I may have been getting dialogue options I shouldn't have been getting. It was almost as if I'd agreed to something and I know I hadn't and I was getting the dialogue options for it. Or there was once where I had one dialogue option that I had to take and I really did not like the dialogue option because it was based upon my karma. Now, Fallout New Vegas, the base game, really doesn't use the karma system much. This mod does for, well, at least one dialogue choice. And I had negative karma. But the reason I had negative karma was I had looted the bodies and I think chests of some raiders, the enemy faction. They were called the survivalists. And I think that's where I got the negative karma from. But it ended up giving me a dialogue line that was humorous. It was very funny under the circumstances, but it felt a little, well, wrong because it was based upon a karma system that, I mean, the karma system in Fallout New Vegas is just not that good. It's just, it always reduces your karma if you steal. And I was stealing from people who were my enemy. I had killed those people because they tried to kill me. So things like that, you know, you end up being considered a really evil person because you'd rifle through the pockets of people who tried to murder you and took their bullets. Little things like that I would like to see tweaked and fixed. But overall, I had an absolute blast with this mod. The end cutscene was phenomenally well done. It was really, really well done. Especially the way it tied in to Fallout New Vegas. I really loved that. Just the whole way they did it. It sort of merges in the beginning of New Vegas. But it doesn't just end there. It then switches to the credits where it lists everyone and you know, it tells you who made the thing. And it's so professional. I was just so very impressed. And it is great that you can continue on in New Vegas with the character if you want, because you might get attached to the character. I kind of did. I grew attached to Tim and his robot army of doom. If I was going to judge this mod as a full price game, and honestly you almost could, I would say it's a little rough around the edges. It's still in beta phase, it does need some polish here and there, and perhaps it needs a little more content in some areas. That's if I was going to evaluate it as a full-priced game, or even a sort of a $30 expansion to New Vegas. Evaluating it as a mod, it's just bloody incredible. It's an absolutely amazing campaign. I really loved the story. I really loved playing it. I sank a lot of time into it. I have a feeling I'm going to come back and try some of the other paths. I may wait a while and see what more they add, but I almost certainly want to try the different paths. As a mod, this is absolutely incredible. I take my hat off to the people who developed this, and if you enjoy Fallout New Vegas, if you still play that game, you don't mind the dated engine, and you want to try a new Fallout experience, because that's how it feels. It feels very much like a new Fallout game rather than just a side quest or a quest mod for Fallout New Vegas. It feels like a new Fallout game. If you want to experience that, this is the mod for you.